I've learned you need to fall in love with life. You need to embrace your dreams with passion. Look beyond where others have been to see where you can really go. You know, one of the questions I get all the time, both in the industry and outside the industry, is with what's happening in life in the last couple of years, what drives you to keep doing what you're doing? Why do you get on airplanes? Why do you travel 250,000 miles next year? To me, that's really simple. It's to make a difference. To make a difference in people's lives. I really believe in what we're doing. I believe that Agile is the finest company in the world. I believe we're in the finest industry in the world. I believe that we could make a difference in people's lives and change lives around the world. I've learned a long time ago that life isn't about Craig Bradley. It's about other people. It's about loving other people. It's about helping other people. It's about other people, you know, their dreams coming reality. That's what drives me, and that's what adversity has taught me, is to lose myself in other people and forget about what's happened to me, but help other people get through their adversity. Live life to the fullest. We can sit around and we can feel sorry for ourselves, which is easy to do, or we can make a difference. You know, I've learned that life is good. It really is good. It doesn't mean we're not going to have adversity. It doesn't mean we're not going to have detours. It doesn't mean it's going to be all easy. But life is good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage President and EVP Agile Cares, Craig Bradley.
Wow. Thank you. First of all, I'm not easily surprised. I kind of know everything that's going on most of the time. Jeff, I owe you one. Thank you. When I entered, I kept looking up. First in one direction and then another direction, and it was actually breathtaking. I actually felt a little bit dizzy. And it reminded me of the first time I'd gone to the Grand Canyon and stood on the edge, and I simply could not comprehend all of it. It was more spectacular than I'd ever imagined. I'd studied it, I'd done my homework, but a ceiling actually painted by Michelangelo himself. You know, and I later learned, you know, that Michelangelo wasn't known as a painter. He was a sculptor, and he loved to work with marble. And that's what he loved to do. But he was, as I call it, a Renaissance man, a man that could do anything. And the Pope asked him if he would paint the ceiling. Now, you have to understand the conditions. You know, for 4 years, he was on his back on scaffolding right up next to the ceiling. And the paint would drip on his face and drip on his face. And my favorite part of the whole Sistine Chapel, as I was just awed, was the part about Adam, you know, and the fingers touching. But as wonderful as that all was, and as I was moved by it, there was something that came a few days later that moved me even more. I was walking down a cobblestone street early one morning. I was just out exercising and walking, and there was this kind of little cul-de-sac. And it was interesting, I was kind of walking down it and looking at all these different shops. And this is a street that Mr. Gage would enjoy. Some great clothing stores and some boot stores and ties, and kind of the very end, tucked in this little kind of corner, was a shop that kind of caught my attention. And I walked over and kind of peered in the window, and I saw some beautiful floral arrangements. I saw some painted jewelry boxes. But really what got my attention was an easel. And on this easel was a blank canvas, awaiting the painter's touch. And against the canvas was one solitary paintbrush leaning against it. And beside that sat a palette of paint. But most impressive of all of it was a sign on the canvas that said, "You are the artist." And I said to myself, no, I'm not an artist. I got some sons that are artists, but I understood the message was so much deeper than that. See, what it was a gentle prompting, a reminder that each of us indeed are painters. We are the creators of our lives. We were not meant to be lived, but to live. We were not intended to be scripted by others, no matter how well intended, even if they're relatives. But we are to write our own script or paint our own painting. We weren't meant to be acted upon. We are and we were meant to act. Our lives are not meant to be scripted by anybody else. The power is ours, and the power is ours alone. And what that really is, that is a sacred birthright. See, every human being is given a gift at birth. Every single one of you has been given this gift. And what this gift is, this is the gift of choice. And I often ask myself, why are some people afraid to pick up a paintbrush? Why are they afraid to paint their lives? Is it because they're afraid they'll fail? Is it because they're afraid that their family or friends will look at them and say, "You can't paint. What are you trying to do? You're not a painter." Is it because we don't know what to paint? Is it because we've been trapped so many years in mediocrity that we have forgot how to dream? Now, I believe there's two tragedies. There's many, but there's two tragedies in life. I believe one of those is not to have a dream. Not having anything that you'd want to put on a blank canvas. You never pick up the brush. You never dip it in the palette. You never paint. Now, the other tragedy would be to have this dream, to know what you want, but then never doing anything about it and dying with that dream still inside you. Now, you may have noticed I have a blank canvas up here today. And what I'd like to do, and this is going to be kind of a little strange, I've got a list of everyone that is here today. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of turn the pages here. Okay. Now, what I'd like this person to do is to come up here. I'm going to talk to them for just a few minutes. And I want them to, it could be really simple. I want them to paint what they would like to accomplish in Agile this year. Okay, Mary Wilhelm. Is Mary here? And I hope she speaks English, because if not, we're in big trouble. She's from Holland. Mary, okay, here's Mary, okay. Let's give Mary a round of applause. Now, this could have been Randy Gage I could have picked, or Alberto, or Pablo. I could have been any one of you, so don't be nervous, dear. Now, how long have you been in Agile?
About 8 months.
Ah, okay. Oh, this is on. About 8 months.
About 8 months, yes.
Why did you join Agile?
I joined Agile because I had a physical problem for about 18 months. Doctors couldn't fix it. Physiotherapists couldn't fix it, chiropractor and everything. And last December it got inflamed. It was my hip. It's the tissue between the muscle and the bone. And one of my friends who's doing Agile said to me, well, before you go to the doctor and have an injection, because I thought that was the only option left. He said, we have an amazing product. It's called Flex. Why don't you try it? And I thought, well, yeah, what the heck, I'll try it. And I did. And after a week or two, I think about 80 to 90% of the pain was gone. And in the weeks later on, the pain disappeared. And I'm free of pain, and I can move again.
Okay. Now, what do you want from Agile? What is your dream from Agile?
I have many dreams, actually. My biggest dream is to become financially independent for many reasons. And one reason is to travel around the world again. I did that many years as a stewardess for KLM. But now I like to travel the world as a passenger in business class or first class.
Okay, then what I'd like you to do, and it doesn't have to be fancy and elegant, it could just be really simple. What I want you to do is come back here, dear. And I'm going to turn this around. And I had my administrative assistant, Tiffany, I just said, Tiffany is going to buy a whole bunch of paint stuff. Yeah. And she bought a whole bunch of paint stuff.
Yes, she did.
And what I'd like you to do is just for the next few minutes, and don't be distracted by them, I want you just to paint a dream you have of Agile the next year. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Now,
you don't want to tell me the dream? Just paint the dream.
I don't want them to know what it is, but you have to promise that when you won't laugh. Is that fair? I mean, if you were up here doing this and you're going to paint a sunshine or a canoe or whatever it is, whatever you're going to paint, they won't laugh. Is that fair?
Oh, that's
okay, you're on your own, dear. There you go. You're on your own. Wow. That's a little bit gutsy out to do that. And it's what she's going to paint is what Agile is going to help her obtain in the next year. Now, I want each of you to be thinking, what you would want to paint. Now, we're going to give her, and I'm going to occasionally kind of sneak back there and see what she's doing. And we'll check on her from time to time, okay? Now, the reason I'm so confident that Mary can do this is because we have some really great products. Now, I want you just to imagine for a minute, at this convention, we were going to unveil the greatest nutritional breakthrough in the last decade. And what if I went on to tell you that this product had the potential to fortify the body in such a way that it would be at its peak ability to help you be healthy? Now, what if I told you that there's no other product like it in the world, and it can only be found here at Agile? Then, now, what if I told you it was sitting right back there on that table? And the cloth covering, of course, but that this product would be available to you immediately. Now, what if I told you that this product had the potential to change your world? Now, would that motivate you like never before? Would you like to take a look at it and see what it is? Okay. No. Now, I may get in trouble. I may get in trouble. But how can you get in trouble when you just got the Hope Award? Now, my friends, you ready? Now you're thinking, okay, that's men. Well, this is our patent-pending gel suspension technology. And think about it just for a second before you go, well, no, I got another table there. But think about this. This has revolutionized the world of nutrition. See, now, if you see this truly in its proper light, if you do, it will be one of your greatest treasures. Now, this may not be brand new to you. You may, this may not be brand new to you. It's one of our first products. But this is new. This technology is new to the entire world. Now, to help you understand that and how important this technology is, I want to share a fable to help illustrate this point. Now, most of you are all familiar with Aesop. He wrote these fables, and his most popular fable was the goose who laid the golden egg. But most of us don't know the rest of the story. Now, as you may recall, the farmer, just a regular farmer, went out to his pet goose to get the egg, and he picked it up, and it was gold. And his first thought was, one of my neighbors is playing a trick on me. They painted this egg gold. Well, he went in to town and have it assayed and found out that it was pure gold. I went home and shared that news with his wife, and she said, "You're kidding me, it can't be pure gold," and all the reasons that it couldn't be pure gold. And then all night, they just kind of sat up. Let me hold the egg. No, let me hold the egg. And started thinking about all the things they could buy. And the next morning, the farmer gets up, goes out, goes into where the goose is, pushes the goose a little bit aside, and there's another golden egg. How fortunate is this? Takes it and shows his wife, and she goes, wow. She starts thinking about purses and shoes. And the next morning, another golden egg, and another morning. So day after day, week after week, month after month, golden egg after golden, they become fabulously wealthy. Had more money than they knew what to do with. And with this new wealth came this new lifestyle of constant buying. They bought a lot of stuff. However, with the opulence of his new life, well, which happens sometimes, the farmer became greedy and impatient. And he wanted to buy more stuff. And so he wanted it now. He didn't want to wait one egg a day. He said, what if I go out there and cut the head off the goose, and I can pull all the eggs out at one time. Well, his wife, pleaded, don't do that. Please don't do that. But he went out, cut the head off, reached in, nothing. Now, you can imagine the feeling. And he became known as the man who cut the head off the goose that laid the golden egg. Now, you can imagine the farmer, the utter shock, the dismay that he was having, thinking, how am I going to explain this to my wife? He was in shock. And so he now starts to walk back slowly from the goose house to the house. He passes the RV. Now that means recreational vehicle. He passed his garage and saw all the cars sitting in there. He passes his yacht and kind of rubs his hand along the yacht. And then just before he gets to the house, there's his prized possession, his Toro lawnmower. See, it had 2 chrome exhaust pipes. It had a cooler on the back of it that held 6 cans of Diet Coke, heated seats, had a navigational satellite system so he could mow very straight lines. It had an umbrella that would come out automatically if it was too sunny. And he just looked at that. And then he got to the front porch, which above the front porch was this huge statue of a golden goose. It was magnificent. And then there's a scripture underneath it which read, the goose house. Immediately, even before his wife could open her mouth, the farmer knew it was his wife's fault that he cut the head off the goose. It was all her fault. She wept uncontrollably when she found out what he'd done, and there'd be no more eggs. He gently put her arms around her, tried to give her comfort. But then he realized it was her spendy ways that made him do this. Having her hair done every week, getting her nails done every week, getting a massage done every week, the purses, the shoes, all the stuff. Then he said, no, well, it's also your mother-in-law's fault. She always wants to go to some fancy restaurant. And she made him buy a sauna for her pig farm. Then he said, no, it's the government's fault. They should have sent someone out here regularly to check on the goose. The government, with all the taxes I'm paying, the government should have had a manual. The manual would be the Golden Goose Guide, a text for keeping your goose healthy. Yeah, and he thought, but there's really a lot of great lessons that we can learn from this fable that apply to us. There's 3 of them, and here they are. Whether it's a golden goose or agile, never, ever take great opportunity for granted. You have to see the greatness for what it is, and then you need to act upon it. Number 2, don't ever take shortcuts to get more from your business. It never works. It never works. And number 3, if your agile business isn't producing as you think it should, don't blame others. Take responsibility and make certain that you make the necessary changes before it's too late. Now, I think that we can all learn, and that we're not like this farmer. See, we have the golden goose. And what it is not like anything else in the world. But yet, see, in the end, the farmer took the goose for granted. See, our gel suspension technology isn't like anything in the world. It is our golden goose. Let's make certain that we always make our products the cornerstone of our story, that we never take it for granted. Now, even more significant, what if I told you on the other table is a product that bridges the oldest question regarding nutrition? And that is, how do we get nutrition into the human body in a way that it can be used instead of expelled? Now, see, for over 80 years since the vitamin was first introduced, and scientists begin to panic because of the state of our soils, lack of nutrition's availability to people. For 8 decades, scientists have tried to come up and find the answer. Well, we have it. It's proprietary, it's patent pending, and it is the greatest nutritional discovery in this decade. It really is. Now, it's ours, and it's called gel suspension technology. There's nothing like it in the world. We're the only ones that really have it, and it will make a difference in your business. It's a gel packet. Now, I'm going to just take a second here and see how Mary's doing. Okay, maybe we should have used finger paints. Maybe, yeah, turn it upside down. Well, just keep going, Mary. We got some time here. Keep going. Okay. Yeah, speaking of stories, there's one thing we all need to do better. We all need to tell our story better. And Jeff talked about it a few minutes ago. It's about passion. It's about urgency. It's about intensity. You tell the Agile story, then you tell your story and how it has affected you. And we need to tell our story more often. See, the world really has not seen. They've not heard our story. If they had, would have 20,000 people here today. Did you notice the other table over there? Well, we have 2 new products we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. And they have a similar kind of potential. See, Dr. J gave these products to me 3 months ago. And before I started taking them, I went in and I had a blood test. Then went in a month later, another blood test, and I was just like this. Then Dr. Joe says, Joel says, take one of these a day, and of course, I take 2 a day. And every month I went in for another blood test. And after 90 days, biologically, I am 10 years younger than I was 90 days ago. Now, you saw some of the videos that I was a little... See, what it has actually done is turned my clock back. And I really believe in my heart of hearts that this product and its development is and will be a benchmark in Agile's history. and in your business. You doing okay back there, Mary? We're doing okay? Good, okay. One of my favorite things was just a minute ago, many of you walked across the stage and you have one of these on your tag, on your badge, which means you're a member of the President's Club. Now, by being a member of the President's Club, you have some special seating. You know, we have a lounge for you here today. If you've been to the President's Club, you would have received a special pin. I personally write a note, which of course should be the most valued thing you get, to each of you who earn it. But what I've learned is those people who have earned the President's Club have a greater understanding of what Agile is all about. And I can promise you one thing. Now, some of you have not earned it, but I will promise you this, that if you will go home, and I don't care if you've been in the business for 1 month or 7 months or 7 years, that if you will go home in the next 30 days, if you will earn the President's Club, your business and your life will be entirely different. Some of you say, well, Craig, I can't do that. You don't understand it. I've been in the business for 5 years and I couldn't do that now. I could have done it maybe 5 years ago. If you're looking for excuses, you'll certainly find one. But when you understand what these new products are, you're going to want to go out and tell everybody about Agile and about these new products. And then after you do the President's Club, I would challenge you to earn the Premier Club. That's 4 people in a month, or just 1 a week. And you can't tell me that you don't know somebody, that you couldn't find 1 person a week that would like to have better health, or would like to have maybe a small income increase. But if you will do that, your business will change, and you will change. Now, I've been in the business now for 23 years. I've worked for 3 major companies, consulted for others, and there's a common denominator. The top enrollers are the top income earners. You know, that's so fundamental because when you stop enrolling, your team stops enrolling. See, the speed of the pack, the speed of the leader. What you do is what they do. And I can promise you, whether you're new or you're not, earn the President's Club. That's going to jumpstart your business. A previous company, about the same size Agile is right now. And we introduced a couple of programs very similar to the President's Club and Premier Club. And that was 22 years ago. That company now is about $1 billion in 22 years. And we had people now start keeping track of how many months they'd earned what would be equivalent to our Premier Club. There's people in that company that for 22 years have sponsored 4 new team members a month. There's people that have done it for 15 years. There's people that have done it for 10 years and 5 years. Yeah, I want you to understand these products. You'll get that. Now, my focus this next year is going to be on the President's Club, the Premier Club, and these 2 remarkable products. And I invite you to join me. I really do. And see, that's how we're going to make a difference. And I really am pretty lucky because I get to come to work every day. I don't have to. I get to. And every day I work very closely with Jeffrey and Jeremiah. And Jeff's crazy and fun like this every day. He really is. And he's passionate. There's nothing he wouldn't do. And you all understand how smart Jeremiah is. Yeah, well, he's certainly got the genes from my wife. But he really understands his business. He understands all of it. And there's Zach and Sam and Scott and Dr. J. And I wish I could go and talk a little bit about each one of our employees, because every single one of them is special. Because they care about you more than they care about themselves. And that makes all the difference in the world. They want to see you become successful. And we have great people that I work with. And I'm so glad to be where I'm at and do what I do every day, because I love the people I work with. Now, some years ago, my wife Kathy and I, we chose to be involved in an inner city project. And it was an inner city in Salt Lake City, and it was going to be a 2-year project. And we'd been there a short time, and the experiences were just incredible. And some of my fondest memories of life are the people that I met there. And I don't mention this because I want you to think that Kathy and I were special to go do this for 2 years. We really weren't. I mention it because the people I met there changed my life. And there was one man in particular that really had a profound impact on me. And the first time I saw him, we were serving a Thanksgiving dinner to people who had no place to go for Thanksgiving. And I was just people were, cooking the food, and we were serving it. And this one gentleman kind of came along and was waiting in line with his plate. And it was kind of a scruffy, and I knew most of the people down there. He was kind of scruffy, and his clothes were tattered. He had like a full beard, hadn't shaved for months, and he had unkept hair, and he said, "Thank you." And I looked in his eyes, and I thought, wow. And they were these blue eyes, and they revealed a very deep intellect. And over time, Bob and I became good friends. And after a couple of months, he told me his story. He was from Los Angeles. He was an architect. And his family and his children were killed in a car crash. And I related. And he chose to outrun his memories and everything that surrounded it. Most days when I was down there, I looked forward to it, because he was very intense. I looked forward to sitting down with Bob and would talk, and he never shaved his beard, and his clothes were never really great. And then one day, as quickly as he came and as quietly as he came, Bob disappeared. And I missed our visits. I missed talking to him, and after a while, I stopped looking. And our service down there was almost over. Again, we were serving a holiday meal, and people were coming, and we were giving them this meal, and I ran out of some meat, and I turned around to get another plate to give people, and a gentleman handed me a plate, and I looked and said, wow. And then he took off his glasses, and he shook my hand, and it was Bob. Bob was back. Well, we sat down together. He told me a story. He said, "What happened?" He simply said, "Well, I was in Montana, walking down a dirt road. A woman was painting there she's painting a far-off mountain. I stopped to admire her work, and suddenly she said, 'Are you an artist?' He said, 'No, I'm an architect.' Then she gave him the brush. He said, 'No, just paint something. So he took the brush and he put a little pink on the cloud and a little blue on the mountain. And she looked at it and went, "You are an artist." She says, "No, I'm an architect," she says. "Then why don't you be one?" Bob said nothing, turned around, and now works for an architectural firm in Bozeman, Montana. And he said, "I've chosen to live again." Now my mind drifted back to a canvas and a paintbrush in a faraway city, and had an invitation that said, "You are the painter." Now let's see how Mary's doing. Okay, Mary. No, I'm not. I'm going to turn this around, okay? Now, I know you're not ready, but we're, Whoa, come here, Mary. Come here. Now what is this? Come over here, dear. Come over here. What is this?
Yeah, it's my dream. I'd like to.
It's her dream.
Yeah, I'd like to swim with the wild dolphins.
Swim with the wild dolphins.
So I need a beach, a resort, some exotic resort. That's where I want to go to, want to fly to.
Well, I can promise you this, dear, that you can have that within 1 year. If you're willing to do what it takes, you can have that. So let's give Mary a applause. Thank you, Mary. I know it's not done, but you can. Now, I have a daughter who is a cancer survivor and chooses to live her life every day as she paints on her canvas, though the odds were against her. I have a friend who's gone through personal tragedies. People who loved him, close to him, betrayed him, and he lost everything. His life seemed completely over. Then an old friend came along and reminded him of who he was, and he began to paint again. He paints every day. My wife chose every day of her life to paint, to make a difference in other people's lives. When only 2 months left in her life, I came home from work one night, and her nurse had made dozens of plates of cookies for neighbors that she'd heard about that were struggling. And she had the nurse make a personal note to each one of them. Now, I have a book here today. And this is a book that was on my son's mat, my oldest son, Matt. He was a cancer survivor and made the USA Paralympic team. And I found this book on his nightstand the night that he drowned and lost his life. And there's something that just, as I was going through the book, there's something that really jumped out at me. I hope my achievements in life shall be these: that I will have fought for what was right and fair, that I will have risked for that which matters, that I would have given help to those who were in need, that I would have left the earth a better place for what I've done and what I've been. Matt chose to live his life with purpose. He painted his life every day, no matter the odds or the difficulties. He survived cancer and earned a place on the U.S. Paralympic cycling team. I know all of us can also overcome our odds. We can create our own lives. We need to pick up our own paintbrushes and to paint on our canvas. It is our future. It is our choice. Each of us has greatness inside of us. Don't let that greatness die inside you. Don't you dare. I love you. I believe in you. God bless you. I am Craig Bradley, and I am Agile. And thank you. And thank you, Mary. Thank you. And thank you.